Computer. Just have this in the background. All right, you guys ready? All right. So I'll put this back here so you're on camera. You see where you're at. Well, thank you guys all for coming in here today. Appreciate the great turnout. Thank you for just making the effort to be here. We got Jeff, just to acknowledge real quick, Jeff Baum. Those that you don't, I think most of you have met Jeff by now. Hopefully you've spoken to him and worked with him up until this point. He's doing a great job. He's met a new buyer at an open house with Ken on Sunday. The gentleman was in the military, and that's kind of the first question. There's a couple questions I ask people when they come in. And if I can kind of tell that they're a first-time buyer, that's usually a very important first question for me to find out. They say, yes, it's my first purchase. I said, that's great. We love working with first-time home buyers. We've helped many first-time home buyers in this area. We actually specialize in it. We teach classes on a monthly basis. We do a lot with it. And there's a lot of people in this area that don't believe that they can ever afford to purchase a home. And that just kind of opened the floodgates for this guy, right? Then he mentions that he's in the military, so I thank him for his service. Ken's like, well, it's crazy. We have Jim Ramey, who's my father, who's going to be speaking here shortly, and he created Veteran Home Services. So my dad was in the military for 23 years, served for the U.S. Navy for 23 years. We grew up on bases, moving just about every 3 years. I was a professional mover by the time I was 11 years old. And my dad had me like a spider monkey in the back of the moving truck because we always saved money on moving and hiring movers. And I was
Philly cheesesteak sub. He was good to go.
I was. See, that's all it takes, right? So long story short, you guys are going to hear a lot of great information here, and we got a great team. And Jeff's 35 years in the business, and a lot of times when I kind of, if you want to call it like teeing up Jeff, meaning like I start hyping my loan officer up, I let him know. I said, look, I've gotten offers accepted because of Jeff's reputation here in Ventura County. Jeff's a pro. He's been a pro. It takes a lot to survive 35 years in Ventura County and staying as a loan officer and serving people. If you don't have a good reputation, you don't last over 35 years. We will all find out is your reputation is probably 95 to 99% of your success, right? And everything that you do, and these are the things, and you've heard me say, my dad taught me when I first came in, that your integrity is everything. There's no amount of money that's ever worth you trading your integrity for. You always have to be able to look at yourself in the mirror, right? So I'm excited to have my dad here speak today. He's going to get in and share the history of Veteran Home Services, how he's built his business, and share that with all of you so that you can all apply some of the same practices as well. We had Jeff. Jeff will, hopefully we have a little bit of time at the end for him. He can share some things. But again, don't be shy. You see Jeff around, sit down and talk with him. If he's here in the office and you see him, it's going to be worth 15 to 30 minutes of your time to find out what's going on, right? And find it out. And the better you get at setting up that meeting, I'm telling you, it's clockwork then. It literally goes from meeting somebody for 20 minutes at an open house to I put him in touch with Jeff. Jeff spends his time with them, does his part with them, solidifying the client. Then I set the appointment at the open house to meet with myself here on a Wednesday at 3 o'clock, 3:30. And then from there, we do the buyer consultation and do the upfront. So with VA, you got to make sure it's a VA approved condo, especially if you're looking at a lower price point. I show them the back end of that. So they see what it is. It's more than just, I'm interested in this property and let's set them up on some emails. When you develop this type of process, he signed the buyer rep agreement by Wednesday, right? Met him Sunday, signed the buyer rep agreement by Wednesday. We show 2 properties. He's already got a pre-approval ready to go. He's already, pretty much almost fully underwritten, approved, and we're going to write an offer today. So that goes from Sunday to Thursday, we're writing an offer. It's pretty decent turnaround time, right? Is that worth 4 or 5 hours of your time? A potential $10,000 commission, and we're not doing it for that, but you do the math, you keep doing that type of thing, and you're gonna create success. Okay.
I want to add something to this. What was the biggest thing that potential buyer said to you with the other experiences he had?
He said that they always made him feel like he wasn't either good enough or ready enough or motivated enough. The last agent he spoke to literally told him, you know what? I got other buyers that are more motivated. So basically, if you're not going to jump, when I say jump, I don't have time for you.
Yeah.
You know what he told me? He told me that the last lender he dealt with just told him, here, just sign this. You don't need to know what you're signing.
He didn't
And I
even.
went through,
yeah.
I spent like 2 hours with him going through every fee and everything. Right? And then we were up 10 o'clock last night, texting each other saying, hey, let's get this thing.
Yeah,
done.
we need a pre-approval. Let's
Yeah.
have it ready to go.
Especially VA.
Yeah.
I spent a lot of time with the buyers and not everybody's gonna give them a good experience.
So we're trying to set you up with a winning team here. But it's going to be your job to meet with Jeff and understand the different loan products so you can sell when you meet someone. And there's different things you need to know. So Jim today is going to tell you and talk to you and discuss the opportunity that you have with veterans. And in combination with that, you have a expert in loans, and the loans have changed recently. So there's a lot of misnomers in lending when it comes to VA. But let's let Jim do his thing here. Anything else you want to?
No, so just I'm grateful for my dad being here. I'm grateful for everything that he's taught us. He's taught Brittany from the ground up. My dad has shared something with myself that is more valuable than anything else that you can give somebody. And to have the ability to create something from nothing, to focus on what you're good at and provide for your family. It's a skill and it's a passion that Ken and I are very passionate about. Okay. So I'm not supposed to get choked up this early. But you can see how sincere it is when somebody takes the time to teach what he can teach you. You just take notes, you listen, right? If he says do X, you do X, you do these things. The people who succeed in this business are the people who never give up and who are willing to take action. They don't overthink things. They just do it. They figure it out and they just do it. So out of respect for the time, he's had 2 knees replaced and he's here. This is his first time coming into the real estate world in a couple years because he hung it up. He's like, I'm gonna focus on my family. I'm gonna focus on my grandchildren. Because as those of us that have been in the business know the toll that real estate can take, but there's so much greater good that can be offered and the impact that you can have that I want you all to see. Well, I'm so proud to have him here today and to be a part of what we're building. So thank you, Dad, for coming in.
Thank you.
And the show's yours. So thank you
Yeah,
for
appreciate
being
it.
patient here.
By the time I get done, you might wonder where Brandon gets his talking ability from as far as you wind him up and the winder stops and he just keeps going. I have no idea where he gets that from. I love the fact on my notes I've been jotting down for a while. I jotted this down when I was sitting back earlier. It says passionate. And when you said that, that just reminded me, I'll talk about that a little bit. First, thanks for letting me come in and yak at you for a little bit. Without going too deep into a lot of different background, it's been a few years. My last brief I gave was in front of about 600 CBs. And that was pretty cool. That was a whole different thing over at the base. But I miss getting in front of people who have a desire to learn stuff. And what's so cool about this being our industry and the people that we're hoping go out and do well is it's all up to each and every one of us, right? I think I've got to meet almost everybody here. I'm not sure if I met you, ma'am. I met you. What's your name?
Gobi.
Gobi. Hi, Gobi. I think I got shake everybody else's hand, I think. And if I didn't, I'll see before I leave. But thank you for having me. Having a good in-house lender is crucial. He doesn't have to be physically here, but having access to him. When we closed our first company, I had a stack of canceled escrows literally about this high. We had to keep them for 3 years. I formed a company called Paradise Estates, and we did pretty well for a little company, but my timing was was pretty bad. We were open for 3 years, did a little over 150 deals. Probably had about a total of, I remember counting, if I had to guess, at least 25 to 40 canceled. And more than half of those were due to loans. It's rarely due to a defect, a material defect. It's usually they just can't finance for whatever reason. So when you have someone you can count on, you're going into it loaded for bear versus going into hoping you can find a bullet to fire at some point in time. Big difference. When I'm on the receiving end, if I got a known bona fide lender on one hand telling me I got this stuff, that's gold in your pocket. Before I get there though, so I want to thank you for that. And you served?
No, I tried, but they wouldn't take me.
Oh, okay.
As a
I thought you said you were a
No,
vet.
but I have a lot of family that serve.
Oh, good. Good
I have
deal.
a way
Are there any?
in the Air Force.
Oh, well, there you go. Thank you for that. Any veterans in here? Okay.
My two brothers did when we came from Cuba.
Excellent. Excellent. Well, thank you. Thank you, mom and dad. If they're still around, well, you can still thank them. You know how that works.
Thank you for your service.
I appreciate it. What I want to talk about is not going to be just for vets or for people working with vets. So we do want to set up Veteran Home Services, the department, but I want to share a lot of stuff that you can utilize with civilians. You can just utilize for yourself, your family, a lot of it towards the veteran world, because there's a very dynamic community out here is just waiting for you. But it's really about differentiating yourself from other realtors. If you look at the people who survive for 3 years, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, and then they've probably figured something out. They've done something right to be hanging around this long. So you guys see how competitive this industry is, right? So one thing I would like to throw out there, and you take it for what it's worth, to differentiate yourself, and you really should try to do that, be the best version of you that you can be. Part of that is a good teammate. You excel when this office excels, period. And if it's hard to kind of to grab that or grasp it, think about you're contacting a FSBO or a listing potential, and you work for a company called EXP, Veteran Home Services kind of thing. And they're getting pushed down by RE/MAX, Pinnacle, Coldwell Banker, whoever, names that they might recognize or feel more comfortable with. What better ammo do you have than supporting your fellow agents who've got signs around your community? Oh, have you seen the one around the corner that my colleague just listed? Well, that's not you. Yeah, but we work together and we represent each other really well by sharing information and possible buyers and things. The more that you can kind of develop that kind of attitude versus when I was at RE/MAX in the 90s, they would hover around the fax machine because people were stealing leads. I kept walking by like, why is everybody hanging here? Because there's something coming in. It's like, oh, is it yours? No, but we want to see it. I said, okay. That just struck me as odd. Then I realized why we have to take the ethics class, right? Have you ever think about that? Is ethics still mandatory?
Yep.
Do you ever ask yourself, why would they mandate ethics? It just tells you, because there's a lot of unethical people out there. When you start seeing these commissions come like this, people eyes roll up, they lose their minds. And you have to defend yourself and your clients knowing that you got people out there who on the surface and maybe deep down, they're good people. But temptation is, with that kind of money, can be, pretty hefty. So when I look at when I had my agents and I would try to teach them how to be just a great teammate, it would come from, if I got some time off, hey, Brittany, do you have anything? I know you got busy this weekend. You need anything you need held open? Hold open houses. I can't tell you how much money are in open houses. Nobody really likes to do them. I used to do them on Super Bowl Sunday. Maybe one of the only guys in town. Sold a lot of houses. I'm from Detroit. They sucked. They never went to Super Bowl. I had no conflict. Like, well, I know who's not playing on Sunday. Anybody need an open house? I could pick. Oh, I'll take your open house. I literally sold 6 houses on Super Bowl Sunday and picked up a multitude of buyers and sellers. And rainy days. Why would it be a good day to do an open house on a rainy day? Bingo. I love that answer. I'm only going to get 1 or 2, but that 1 or 2 that walks through the door is like, hey, we got to find a place. And for the selling side, on the listing side, I got an agent who's willing to come out here and do this. I literally had selling one up on Marco. I wasn't selling it. Well, yeah, I was doing open house for another agent. Raining like heck. I remember the guy following me, putting my signs up. He was in his car, hovering behind me. I get the last sign. He comes on in, doesn't do anything. Crickets for 2.5 hours. Finally, a couple comes in with an agent. See the house. He kind of pulls me aside. He goes, "Don't I see you over at the ball games?" My son played at Real Mates. His son played at Cam High. We saw each other at the Brickers. Saw each other. He goes, I can't stand this lady. Give me your number. Okay. I wasn't going to give him a card. I was going to talk to him about baseball. Next day, he called me up. They fired her and took me out there. They had to convince her to take him out and show him property on a rainy day. She didn't want to do it. Differentiate yourself. Stand out amongst people who don't understand what it takes. Timid salesmen have skinny kids. That was our motto back in Remax. I don't think I'm too timid. There's no skinny kids in my household. No, do you think my wife's a good cook or not? Don't even answer. That's rhetorical. And we have to laugh at some of this stuff because this is serious stuff and it's litigious and it hangs with you for years. You get that commission check, guess what? That clock just starts ticking. 3 years, you got issues. And that's if there's no intentional fraud. Throw intentional fraud in it, it extends it. So we want to have the right lender. We want to have the right disclosures, the right attitude, the right title report. She said something I hadn't thought about in years. You guys know what the $7,000 land exemption is for homeowners? Anybody know that or not know what that is? And you don't have to raise your hands. One of my, I wouldn't call it pet peeve. One of the things I always did, especially when I reviewed all the other files from my office, I always looked for that. That was my one go-to. And I would find about 30 to 40% of the time, they didn't have that $7,000 exemption. It's not a big deal. With today's prices, you might get a combo at McDonald's. That's not the point. The point is for your clients, you're showing them you're different. I took the time to call, hey, you realize this property doesn't have that. Sometimes I did it after it closed because I'm reviewing the files of the broker. And I would see this, I'd talk to my agent, and sometimes they just missed it. That's not a big deal. But I'd tell my agent, Joe, hey, Joe, give your client a call. Say, how's it going? Everything's working right. They've been in there for a week. And you're talking to them, just say, hey, I just came across something. You might want to check with the county. There's a form you can just download it. And you'll get this land exemption. Well, what is it? Is it big? No, it's only about $7,000, but hey, that's $7,000 off your taxable value. You're showing them you're different. You're differentiating yourself. That's kind of the crux to a lot of this stuff. So when we start trying to promote ourselves as realtors and you see the internet as a good thing and a bad thing, what do you think some of the challenges are you folks face now that I didn't necessarily have, 20 years ago with the internet? Bingo, they're like the top of the hill. A ton of misinformation. And everybody's an expert. You do this for a living, but they know more than you do. My uncle sold a house. My aunt bought the house. Bought it from my uncle when she kicked him out of the house. So that kind of stuff happens. And yet they know more than you do. It's like, I'm trying to maintain a level of respect to my client who's a CPA. Hey, I know you do great work. Thanks for taking care of my books or whatever. I know you know your job. Oh, yeah, chest pops out. They're feeling pretty good. Yeah, I kind of know my job too. and I kind of know how to let you go down the right path where I'm going to protect you. You really want to trust me because you're basically paying me a lot of money, right? In a sense. Now with commissions being, whatever they are. But they've always been paying us. It was just in the purchase price. So don't you want to trust me? You're working with me. So sometimes we have to earn that because they're getting sideswiped by all their brothers and sisters. And everybody's telling them, what's good and what's bad. So we have to be able to make them understand you are my best interest. I'm only here for you. When we write up an agreement and we go out and we look for property or we're listing a home, I'm going to do everything accordingly, but I have you. I have your back. And they have to really feel that. That's how we differentiate ourselves. So when we start talking about veterans or non-vets or active duty, does anybody here have their MRP? You do? There you go. And you do? That's a great question. You want to tell them what that means, April?
Military relocation specialist.
Mhm.
Thank you.
What does it do?
It differentiates me.
That's a great answer. You do not have to leave the class. No, it really does. What it is, it's for active duty, not so much veterans. And the difference whenever you hear a vet and active duty, it's just that the active duty folks are still serving. Veterans are post active service. They have a DD 214, which is just a form that separates them and gets them out. But the active duty have a lot of unique criteria, a lot of jargon you may not understand. They have a time flow. It's pretty consistent. They're coming and going on a regular basis, usually 3 to 4 years. They rotate in and rotate out. So you build a clientele list with a bunch of active duty folks. One, they love talking to each other. So they're sharing your name all over the base. And two, they're probably going to rotate out, which means the house I sold them, I'm probably going to sell it again in 2 years, 3 years, if you maintain that relationship. So one of the reasons or one of the methods of staying around a long time are maintaining these relationships. Try not to see them as a one commission, one trick pony type thing. If you build genuine friendships, because we go back to the passion, this is such a personal industry, right? When you help people put a roof over their baby's head, you don't forget these things. I sold the house on Calle La Prada, 98, I think it was. And I still can see the gentleman crying in front of his wife and kids because he never thought he could put a roof over his head. I'll even say his name, Bernie Ignacio. That's been what, 98, 25, 35 years ago? No, not 35, 25 years ago. I can still see it because he had lost his home to foreclosure and a lender told him, forget about it. It ain't going to happen. And there's ways that people with bankruptcies, and your lender can tell you that, can get back into buying a house, or would they had a prior foreclosure. Some of the programs, anybody here familiar with CalVet?
Mhm.
So CalVet has a program that I'd highly recommend that you understand a little bit about, and I got information on it, that they offer up everything from housing, like the veterans home over in Ventura, to advocacy on different issues, to healthcare advice, to help with their VA claims, to VA loans. They do a bunch of stuff. But one thing about CalVet that's nice, that might be something you might even want to look into. I know you probably already work with them, is when we can't do the loan, they can do folks who don't qualify for VA loans. They're state funded. It's not from the VA government pot. It's a state funded program. A lot of folks don't understand that. So there's certain criteria that your client may not qualify for a VA loan, but they'll qualify under a CalVet program. The challenge with CalVet is they're going to require 3% down. They do have certain other things, and they won't accept your disability for a VA funding fee waiver. So you really want to go through the VA loan if you can, but sometimes you have people who just can't qualify. That's a good option to have. Okay. Some of the things I really wanted to talk about with you is not even necessarily, and we'll come back to the veterans. When you're out soliciting business, what's your guys' primary methods? What do you like to do to meet people? Well, I'll go to Betty. Let's go to Betty. What's your primary way to meet people besides your sphere of influence?
Networking meetings. I specialize in seniors, so I go to senior networking meetings I belong to.
That's excellent.
At the grocery store in line, I come up with, oh, that's a nice dress, or where do you live, or something like that. And I hand out my card.
Did you ever have a cashier turn your card down?
I don't give it to cashiers.
Oh, I used to give it to everybody.
Interesting has been ziplining. I met a gal that was
That's
ziplining
pretty
with her
cool.
boyfriend, and she lived in Somis. I was in Santa Margarita and was with one of my clients who was in her 70s. I was freaking out, scared to jump, and she asked me for my card, and then after
There you
2
go.
weeks later, she said, "Oh, my dad's selling his ranch, and I need to go buy something. He's giving me 400,000 to put down." I'm like, "Okay."
Wow. I had a cashier when it was still Albertsons. I'm giving him a card. He goes, "Sir, I'm not trying to be rude. I've got 4 of your cards." That's what, can I have some back? I'm running out. He was honest. I'm really not trying to be rude. See, now I was already seeing now then I couldn't remember if I gave him 1 or not. Yeah, you gave me 4, pal. But yeah, you don't want to keep it a secret. This isn't I got a secret. This is I want to share myself. I want to share the passion of Ventura County. I want to share the passion of getting a home without losing your mind. This is what we're here. We're here to be their stress reliever. We're here to share the information that we've gathered over time and our experiences. Everybody in here's got a ton of experience. That's where you come together as a team, as a unit, a cohesive unit that talks to each other, that supports each other. Your value isn't in one individual top-notch agent. Your value is in a collective group that helps each other out, that promotes each other's business and goes out there, door knock together. If you need to. I have a thing on door knock with some of my family's already heard it, but my door knocking is a little bit different. One, I've only got about 4 doors in my knocking. So with these bones and my proclivity for mashed potatoes, I'm not doing a whole lot of knocking these days. So I gotta say, okay, I'm my eye on those 4 houses. And when I go up there, I don't sell anything. In fact, I would even get a shirt. I'm not selling nothing. They're gonna look at you like, what the hell are you knocking on my door for? I just want to say hi, like your house. No, I mean, I would do it in the sense of I see the flags. Already I know I don't know that person, but I respect their patriotism. And they'll walk up usually Saturday morning. How can I help you? And I'll just step back. So, you know what, sir? I'm not here to sell anything. I can't help but admire that flag. Oh, you can have 50-50 here. Which is pretty good odds. 50-50 on the flip side is they want to talk to you a little bit about the flag. On the other side is like, yeah, it's a flag. Okay, well, I just want to tell you, appreciate you flying it during these times. We got a lot of stuff going on in the country. It's never too much to just thank you for flying the flag. Oh, by the way, do you mind if I leave you this? Now, usually I don't get to it that quick because more times than not, I've got conversations going. I've had people invite me in their house like you wouldn't believe. Just, hey, come on in. I want to show you this. They don't know I'm a vet at this point. They just know I took time to appreciate the flag. People who take the time to fly that have a heart that says, I love this country. You're taking the time to say, thank you for not giving up on this country. You got the media that says, go left, we hate you. Go right, we hate you. Go down the middle, we hate you more. What am I supposed to do? Go backwards? I had nowhere to go. So when you see me doing this,
He's looking for
a fat guy looking for a cool spot. I'll find one sooner or later, man. So if I end up over here in the corner, I love you guys, but I'm in a good spot. I used to teach at home buying at Pacific Oaks.
It's not easy to keep you on camera, Dad.
Oh, well, yeah, I am kind of a small target. Pacific Oaks, and Shane, the manager, one time, he goes, "Why don't you keep moving watching the mill?" I said, "Shane, your AC works really good right over here behind this stanchion." He goes, "Okay, I get it. Yeah. And that's when I was skinny. So if you see me wander, especially on bad knees, I'm looking for a cool spot. And the other thing, old age, I end up out in left field and I don't know how to get back to right field. So you're gonna have to guide me back to what we were just talking about.
I got the chair behind me too.
Okay.
Well, I do want to point out, there's one thing I wanted to point out during the introduction is so my dad retired here in, was it,
99.
well, you came here in 96, right?
Yeah, we got her in 96.
So 96 transferred from DC over here, brand new to Camarillo. He was getting close to retirement from the military and just got his master's degree. So he was trying to set up his next, what am I going to do after the military? He had a buddy of his who was his boss in the military, right, Rob?
Rob Martell.
Rob
Some of you might
Martell,
know him.
who started Move West Realty.
Yeah.
And
We carpooled when he was born.
so I just remember my dad in khakis, in uniform. He was a chief, and he had his little pager. Was it on your ankle? at the
Scared
time?
the hell out of me. Everybody called me.
had his beeper go off, right? And then
No one ever
he'd
called
run
me.
out and do it. So he started at that time. But the reason why I bring this up is we didn't know anybody here in Camarillo. We knew nobody, right?
Besides Rob.
Right.
And
Besides
I wasn't
Rob.
giving up any
And
business.
he's right, and he's a real estate agent, right? He's so yeah, definitely not gonna give
No.
you anything. So grateful for introducing you to the business and showing them the ropes. But the reason why I bring this up is I want, if you can take a moment and talk about what you did when you're starting out, how you've been able to build a career of being able to make sure that you're able to take care of your family, kind of how you
Yeah.
built it, what your principles were when you worked with people. All these things, if you pay attention and you hear it, guarantee every single person in here can take something from it and think about how they're approaching their business today and how they can implement that into their business to do
Yeah.
well. And that's
appreciate that.
I wanted to bring that up because most people don't, everybody thinks, oh, well, that's what they said to me is, oh, well, your dad and mom are in the business, so you're selling homes because they're giving you everything.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
We gave him a little feeder in the corner. It's like a gerbil feeder.
That's what I give. Yeah, same with Brittany. I know who said it. I know who said it. I do.
You tell them your in-laws were out in the field spinning?
Oh, you got that from your parents, right? Yeah, yeah. they're
No,
still
You know,
good.
the one thing that I found out real quick, because I didn't know a soul besides Rob, who got me into Remax, was, and he just said, there's a bullpen, get your suit, get your list, start cold calling. It's like, okay. And I would come in after work. I'd do my time in the Navy all day. I'd come in at night and I'd just dial it up. I went home. I would shut myself in a room, and this was not pretty.
Well, what were you calling?
I was calling expireds.
Oh, okay.
Every expired I could find. I went back, I pulled expires from years before. I'm desperate, right? Don't want them skinny kids. They want to eat for some reason. So I'm dialing it up. I have no choice. I'm knocking on doors. My wife and I got her to go out first couple times. We handed out, this is not an exaggeration, a few thousand flyers, easily a few thousand. Everyone from North Oxnard to South Oxnard, all through Camarillo. And out of all of those times, turned into 3 deals, which was 3 good deals. And they kept them for a long time for whatever reason. But it was you pounded the ground. You went out, and I was too intimidated to door knock at that point. It was just leaving flyers. And what I didn't realize was I'm missing that opportunity. I would much rather talk to 4 or 5 houses than drop off 500 flyers. You let me speak with someone, nothing may come from it, but there's a good chance they may say, by the way, what are you here for? I've actually had that. I forgot what I was even there for. We're just talking. That's not uncommon when you forget what I'm talking about. Oh, yeah, that's right. Can I give you this card? And the other thing that before I forget, if you decide to work the Veteran Home Services side, and this is for folks who may not want to work with vets, this is okay, because there's other things you can put on it. I would have your card, a separate card made. What's 200 cards cost? $250.
$35.
Okay, so for
$40,
$35, $40, I would have a separate card made.
you get 1,000 made for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
On the back side, I would have something to the effect of, well, you'll see our sign up there, got freedom, think of vet, thank you for your patriotism. Any patriotic caption you can think of, that's the back side of my card. When I meet somebody in Costco and I'm talking to them, or I'm knocking on a door, what side of the card do you think I'm going to hand them?
That side.
I want them to see that before they look over and see my name. I want that to be the first thing that's impressed on them. And I'll hand them the card. Same thing with scripture. If you're religious, there's nice scripture you can put on there. Some people really like working with other religious folks. And do it from the heart. Don't do it because it's a money-making proposition. If you mean it from the heart, they'll pick up on that. But it's really about you taking the time and the energy to go out and find out, what do I need to do? How much business is just falling in your lap? Once in a while, you'll get lucky. Something will just kind of pop up. Can you make a living out of that?
No.
That's tough. Yeah, that's tough.
I
And-
think failure is not an option.
No,
Once you acknowledge that failure is not an option, you have to make it. That's the way I started.
Mhm.
I didn't have a choice. I had to feed
No,
my family.
exactly. That's exactly
And
it.
I couldn't, so I was gonna go.
I listened to a podcast in Florida once, and the guy had our last name. I thought, what's this Ramey doing? I'm just curiosity. And somebody's interviewing him. He was a pretty big producer in Tampa area. And the guy, about 15 minutes into a 30-minute podcast, just said, I got to ask you something. What's your primary hook with the people you talk to? He goes, my primary hook is simple. It's within me. I have to start that phone call, and to motivate myself, I have to be able to understand I'm going to get rejection. I'm going to get no. I'm going to get the phone slammed down on me. And if I'm willing to take a bunch of no's, a bunch of rejections, if I can get to where my skin is thick enough that doesn't bother me, that's when I started making money. As soon as he lost the fear of picking up a call or knocking on a door, it just opened up. And you know why? Because you're not dwelling on it. You're not rationalizing failure. You're not rationalizing inactivity. You're not going to rationalize, well, I'll just wait till I get that referral from my cousin who said they were going to buy 2 years ago. Rationalize success. Rationalize you taking charge of it. It works because you've taken the pressure off yourself. The second you start thinking, he might say no, let's see. And you knock on the door. She might just hang up on me. One of them called me an obnoxious snake. This is back when I said, well, what's your point? But this is back when I was locking myself in the room and I was coming out. And my wife would say after a while, she goes, don't come out of that room like that. Okay, let me go back in there. I was not coming out a happy camper because I was doing it all wrong. I didn't understand the dynamic. We all get the calls. What do we do? I'm not answering it. I'm not answering that. That's going to voicemail. I don't know who that is. But if you do this, chances are they're going to come to your door. How many have realtors come to your doors and knock? I respect them. I don't bust their chops. I don't say I'm a broker for 20 plus years. I like to hear what they got to say. I'll let them do their little thing. And then at some point,
You know, how long ago was that? It's not like it's happening this last week, right?
During COVID time,
Yeah.
like 4 years.
3-4 years ago. I can't even think of the last agent who's
Coming?
knocked on my door.
it's been about 2 years since I've had somebody. So if you, and see, and that's just it.
You know, we used to see, they do the notepads, they do all kinds of stuff. Haven't seen that in years.
We are so pre-wired that, oh, I can't go there. They're not going to know how to handle me. That's why I knock. Now, literally, I'll just step back. And, hey, good morning. Hi, just real quick. I'm not here to say anything. Well, what can I do for you? You know, I saw that sticker on your back of your car, proud mother of an Army soldier. Thank you for your honor. Thank you for what you've done to have this child enlist in the military. Oh, and then they really want to talk about their kids. Where they at? Oh, she's over in Germany. And she loves it. She's going to college. She's doing this. She's doing that. Oh, really? How's that working for her? You think she'll make a career out of it? You don't have to be a veteran to show that kind of appreciation. But don't ever be afraid of this. And don't be afraid if they shut the door. I took Brittany's husband, my second son, and we went out. That was before I had my first knee replacement. I'm on house. We did like 5 houses. My house number 2, and she had a baby in her arms. And Matt stood back. Matt's just watching at this point. As soon as I saw the baby, I thought, oh, this is going to be quick. I said, you know what, ma'am, I know you literally got your arms full. Do you mind if I just leave you this car? Sure, okay. She took it, and that was it. That's fine. The one before that and the 3 after that, we had a conversation. But actually, we talked. And the last one, I have my Navy retired hat on. She had a Navy sweatshirt on. So this is like fish in a barrel. And we started talking. And lo and behold, I sold the house to her husband's junior. Now it just happened to work that way. But even had I not, she was very talkative. They wanted to talk. They're going to move to Minnesota. By the time I left, she pointed out every person on that street who was a veteran. So I go straight across the street, meet a guy named George. We've since become friends. He's trying to get me to pickleball. I like eating pickles. I don't know if I want to ball the pickle. So, but he's a good dude, former Marine. He points me back across the street, 2 doors down from one we sold. I'm tired of this place. I'm going to Vegas. How can we help you? Well, what can you get for my house? Well, we'll get you top dollar. Sold her house. She went to Vegas. Took 5 doors to knock on, turned 2 deals. And then one of them goes, oh, you're that veteran guy. I said, well, I might be. You see Mr. VA drives around here, right? I said, what do you mean? He goes, you got a house on Norman? Oh, yeah. I just sold the house over there. Yeah, we drive that all the time. We want to talk about it because you'll see that sign, got freedom, think of it. And they drive through the neighborhoods. But how cool would it be if you're talking with somebody and you find out they might be a veteran and they say, oh, aren't you that company that's got that veteran department? Yeah, as a matter of fact, we have a whole group that's trying to work just to help veterans out. We got a lender that's vet friendly. Our agents are all tuned into it. Can't hurt, but they don't have to be veterans. This is where I really want to draw the line. So we understand that there is a total approach to dealing with active duty MRPs and folks who've already served. And please keep in mind, sometimes I've had them with TBIs, traumatic brain injuries. I've had guys when I was a counselor on the base, it breaks your heart. They would sit there and they would repeat themselves, and the wives were taking notes because the guy couldn't remember anything. Took an IED to the side of the head, and he lived, but his memory span was on a loop for about 30 seconds, and then 30 seconds, and the same 30 seconds. You're going to come across that kind of situation.
PTSD.
Yeah. Well, yeah, he had PTSD,
Well,
but
not a PTSD.
oh, a ton of it. What the media won't tell you, back in Vietnam, which is before me, they would usually do 1 year in the bush and they would come home. When I was on an aircraft carrier, and we would go over for a year and come back. Now, because they've downsized the military to like this, when I was doing my briefs, I would ask them, I'd have 600 plus Seabees in the auditorium. How many they're coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan? How many of this is your first tour? Yeah, about 20%. How many your second? Another 10, 15%. How many have done 5? Half of them raised their hand. How many have done double digits? And now of 600 people, I had at least 25, 30 guys that had done more than 10 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. They just recycle them. So the kid that joined the Navy or the Army or the Marines with all the best intentions is not the kid that's coming home. So for us, how privileged and honored are we, I'm trying to get choked up here, that we can take these guys and help them, put a home over their heads. And we don't have to have all the answers. That's not the point of this. The point is you call me, you call your lender, you call your office managers, you call your colleagues, say, hey, weren't you dealing with that guy a couple of weeks ago who ended up buying a condo on the VA loan, but he was having some problems? This is where your unity in your office is huge. You guys, hate to tell you, you might not have figured it out, but think you did. It's you against every brokerage out here. Everyone, even the other EXPs. You're against them. I'm not trying to make it a super competitive thing, but that's what it is. You're not against each other as much, even though sometimes it can come across this. I've been over there where they wanted to ring the bell. I've seen the same Fred Evans, the same, I won't name names, the same guys putting their digits up there. And I'm just thinking, man, I wish I could count to one. I'll get one day. And one day, a big name came to me. I'm in my bullpen doing my thing. And she goes, it's on a Wednesday. She goes, I hate to do this to you, but I heard you're willing to do open houses. I said, yeah, name it. I got one over here on off of Berry Street. Staunton. Got one over here on Staunton. It's a Thursday. Wasn't Caravan. He goes, my clients are about to fire me. I told him I have somebody, would you mind doing it? Hey, I'm your guy. I did that open house and I'm sitting there and I've got, this time I actually got pants on. I got my suit. I got everything going. I'm doing my thing. Crickets. It's like, man. But I knew I did her a solid. All of a sudden, here comes a UPS truck, pulls up across the street. Young girl gets out, runs in, drops off package, runs over, looks around. She goes, oh, it's not what we want. She goes, do you have a list? I said, sure. I got about 30 of them, right? Because I hadn't had any out. So I gave her the list. She goes, you available tomorrow? Yes, ma'am. And every day after that, as long as you need me. I took her out on Friday, found her and her husband a house. She referred me her best friend, sold them a house. Best friend referred me the mother. So the mother house, still in my database, still contacts, all from one person coming through and doing another agent a favor. I bought her a big bottle of wine. I knew she liked her wine. She gave me every open house I wanted after that because I took care of when she needed it.
Can you share with them what the one-line list is? What the list is that you have printed out
Oh.
for every open house?
They don't have that anymore.
Well, they do.
Oh.
but we don't always do it. So I
Oh,
wanna make
oh,
sure the
okay.
agents know.
So I'm kind of ignorant on what you guys got going on with
Right.
MLS, but they had one line list reports. I
All the
could
actives.
print a list of
All
like-
the actives, yep, all the actives, and you just put your business card on the bottom because you don't always have. Now our contact should show, but before you didn't, so you had to scan your business card on the one-line report. But every time you worked an open house, people want to know what else is on the market, right? It wasn't as easy, especially with Zillow and everything else, but this still works. You should print a one-line report every time before with the actives around that price point of that property, right? And there's a lot of homes now. There's 200 homes in, Oxnard, 130 in Camarillo, right? So print that out to like from, if you're at a $600,000 property, at least go to 800, maybe up to $1 million. Because you got people who are looking above, you got people looking under. And when you have that, this is usually the talking point. This is, as Ken teaches about switchers, that's important, right? But this is something they can just take with them, and there's a chance they may call you.
no, that's perfect.
Yep.
I want to add something that you've been speaking about. Talked about the people that have come back from military service and they go through a lot. Well, let me tell you, some of my clients that I've worked with, not just the soldier, it's their family. And I was talking to this wife and the husband, great, was very polite, very, in tune to what was going on. I couldn't tell that he had this traumatic situation going on. And I think what happens is when you are a man or you're a man or woman in a relationship, you see those people in their prime, you see them in their glory. And when something bad happens to them, and they're not operating in the way that the way they used to be, you fend for those people and you feel like, man, if you only knew my husband when he was this. I wish you would have met my wife when she was this way. Anyway, the wife came up to me and said, I just want you to know that my husband, he was in Iraq and tank blew up. And I didn't know if he was gonna come back. He goes, but she said, hardest part for me, she started crying. I didn't know for 9 months. He was just gone. Nobody contacted me. I couldn't get a hold of him. And we got the kids. And she goes, it was awful. It's awful. So when we say we owe it to the soldier, we owe it to the whole family.
Right.
You know, you gotta understand, you're dealing with a very delicate situation. You can't really chime in because you never been there, just can listen.
Yeah.
And those are the people that when you do help them, they really, really remember that. So just wanted to share that.
No, that's a great point. I mean, think about all the folks you know who've ended up divorcing or whatever reason their family split. And whenever we have to, I'm saying, have to isn't the right word. Whenever we work with them and we're in the middle of a divorce situation, the emotions that are tied to it. And the best thing we can do is be a sounding board, if nothing else. But what you can really be is a source of information. A couple things to kind of process is, again, how do we differentiate ourselves? What do we do? What can we do that's different? Because this whole thing has been invented and, you know, ran up no pun intended, ran up the flagpole about 1,000 times on how to be a top agent. You got every seminar and then some that they want to teach you things. Some of them you already know, you just don't incorporate them. Some of them you've never heard. It's like, wow, that makes complete sense. Why did I never think of that? Most of it is just intuition. Most of you go with your morals. You're going to make the right decision, right? You're going to do the right thing because that's what got you where you're at. That's what got you through life, is making good decisions.
We got the chair behind you too.
Oh.
You're ready for it.
So keeping that as kind of the crux of whatever you do, knowing I'm going to morally represent them. Now, how can I professionally advance some of the things I need to know? How do I deal with the Zillows of the world? How do I deal with all of the DRE stuff that just gets added and added and added? And that's a challenge in and of itself, right? How many pages a contract now?
I lost count.
Yeah,
over 60.
we went to Utah about 3-4 years ago, wrote an offer, 3-page contract. 3-page, that was it. You want to buy a house? Yep.
Your buyer
Okay,
rep-
yep. Okay, here's a couple
Buyer
things.
rep is like 13 pages, and that's just the buyer rep. You haven't even started on the offer yet. You're at 13 pages.
So have you ever I'm sorry, what's your name again?
Jesse.
Jesse, have you ever purchased a home yet?
Not yet.
Okay. You're going to purchase one one day and you're going to be wearing that hat. And thankfully, because of what you're doing now, you're going to process that a whole lot easier. Imagine you haven't been exposed to all this stuff. And Brandon or somebody comes in and says, okay, Jesse, let's talk. You're about to make the large, and you've all heard this, I'll repeat it anyways. You're about to make the largest purchase you've ever made. You have everybody and their brothers trying to tell you how to do this. Because they love you and they think they're helping. Your in-laws, your whoever. They're just going to tell you what to do or what they think you should do. And then you go online, it's like, okay, I got to check this out. What's this? As a buyer, if we can understand that and anticipate that going into the process, that helps us consult them on a whole different level. We're more patient. We're more prepared. We can empathize with them because it's scary to drop 1 point what now for a house? We all sit there like, how do these kids afford a $5,000-$6,000 payment? I'm getting goosebumps thinking about that. I remember writing an offer on $118,000 over off Woolley, and my client was he was about to start smoking crack. He was calling his dad. I think he actually might have. I don't know. He was calling his dad in Albuquerque. He was, Dad, I can't deal with this. And he goes, just trust. He goes, he told me this later. He goes, do you trust your agent? He goes, oh yeah, we were serving in the Navy together. Yeah, he's a good dude. He goes, I don't care if he's a good dude. Do you trust him? I think so. What does he do? Well, he's a chief in the Navy. What the hell are you doing working with a chief? Go find yourself. He's telling me all that stuff. Go find yourself a realtor. He goes, well, I'm sticking with him. I was like, well, thank you for doing that. So I finally got him calmed down. This was the foreclosures in the late 90s, that round, because it was a foreclosure we put a bid in. Make a long story short, he ended up getting his house. Years later, we sold. He made a nice check and he moved back to Albuquerque. But he was flipping out, losing sleep over $118,000. The amount is relative. It doesn't matter what the amount is. It matters what the person's ability to understand the commitment. So one of my visuals I used to give my home buying class, which I kind of miss teaching that. Maybe we'll come back, and I know Brandon's doing a great job. Maybe we'll help out and do some. But this is a visual that we need to understand. So Jesse, you're buying that house, right? Are you married?
No.
Not yet.
Not yet, yes.
Okay. And, you know, me and Miss Cleo got this thing going. You can have like 5 kids in 6 years, right? Okay. You got that smile like, I'm gonna pop me a bunch of kids. So you got these kids coming and you got this mortgage and you had this huge price back in the day, whatever it was. Huge, again, huge is relative. So here's that first payment. Oh, what? She's pregnant? Oh, triplets. Holy crap. Here comes some more payments. Oh, honey, you know the transmission's gone. Got your walking shoes ready? Here's the payment. Oh, and by the way, you know, Sally wants to be in cheerleaders. Here's your payment. And little Joey got to quit eating corn cob through a picket fence. Teeth are all jacked up. Here's your payment. Oh, we got to Christmas. Hey, we just hit 1 year. And you had transmissions, triplets, braces on jacked up teeth. A little girl wants to do her cheerleading stuff. You have life, right? What doesn't go away? The bills and payments. So we focus on prices. $800,000, $1 million. Focus on that payment. If you can focus on the payment as an agent and get your clients to understand, this is what I'm dealing with, not this big X number. Can I handle this? Can my wife lose her income, or can my husband lose his income down to 40 hours to 20 hours? Can I handle this payment? You focus on that with your clients, you'll never go wrong in that sense. You won't put them in a situation where cornbread and beans.
I add to that real quick?
Yeah.
So great leaders help people focus on the right things. Remember it's a key thing to understand. And when you're listening to what my dad's talking about with the business, it's what you get people to focus on, which leads to success or not, right? Because they're stressed out, because they're being told a million different things. You have to listen. You got to understand. You got to be able to anticipate. And that's what Ken teaches. It's what we all teach in terms of our trainings. But always think of great leaders help people focus on the right things. That's what he's talking about right now. And everything that he does makes people feel comfortable. It creates that trust and that relationship. And I remember my dad was strongly against buyer broker agreements. He was told to do them at Paradise Estates.
At Remax. I left Remax because I allowed
to. We didn't allow it, even though people wanted to, because everything with us was built on trust, right? Now, unfortunately, with the listing agreement, not unfortunately, but the way that it is by law, right? You have to have a listing agreement. Now, by law, you have to have a buyer rep agreement. So it's changed. But that's not the point of why I'm sharing this. The point of why I'm sharing it is when you understand this is about connections, it's about relationships, and it's about trust and leadership and your ability to help them to focus on the right things. As you continue to refine that, it gets easier. So I just want to highlight it because that's what you do. What are you saying, Jeff?
Can I just make a comment?
Yep.
I deal with a lot of agents, a lot of different agents. And I'm not just saying this because Brandon's sitting here. I don't have issues with his clients. Not that I have issues with anybody for the most part, but Brandon is honest and he controls the clients and makes them focus on what they need to focus on. And it makes even my life much easier, right? They do everything I ask them to do, which is very important. And things just go super smooth.
And military is great for understanding that as well. They're great clients to have because they want leadership.
Yeah.
They want you to tell them what to do and they'll do it. There's no questions asked. They're not doing it. And the same thing my dad just said, that everybody's trying to give advice. We talked about that yesterday in our buyer consultation. I said, look, your friends are going to mean, well, everybody thinks they know everything. I said, my dad calls them sea lawyers, right? And he's in the Air Force, so he appreciated that. So I said, you know, everybody's got an opinion. Everybody means well. I said, but you're going to see most people talk themselves out of it. Very few find a way. I said, so it's key that we communicate and we get on the same page, but your best relationships with your loan officer, if you don't have that trust and you don't have that type of relationship where you can count on him and he can count on you and you're backing each other up through the process, telling you, it makes or break the experience. And when a loan officer, you know, or a broker, you know, such as Jeff understands that, I'm telling you, it's people will say you guys are the 1-2 with everything. I won't work with anybody else. And I'm saying, before you do anything financially, talk to Jeff. Before you purchase something, talk to Jeff. Before you put $10,000 that you have in a safe into your bank account, talk to Jeff, because it could kill the deal.
You
right?
know what Ricardo said to me last night, which was really funny? He goes, yeah, I looked at 2 properties and I found this one. Is that premature? I go, no, that doesn't surprise me.
Right.
I go, you found what you want. You're working with Brandon. Doesn't surprise me at all with him.
We
You know what I mean?
we spent 5 hours together before we went and, 3 hours before we went to go do that.
But the point is that I think the advice he's gotten in the past is
Right.
spend your time, look for the right house. You know what I mean? Sometimes you don't have that.
No.
You know, you find the house right away, you just
Pros-
pull the trigger.
Pros cut through it, right? The pros we know, and once I know his situation, once I get the information from Jeff, I get all the pieces of the puzzle put together. Once I know what my game plan is, it's like, okay, he can only go to 475 with a $400 a month HOA. That's going to limit what we can do, right? So I know, okay, it's going to be a condo, it's going to be a townhouse, it's going to be a 1 or 2 bedroom. And in Camarillo, anybody who knows the Camarillo market, what can you get under 500,000 in Camarillo, right? What can you get?
Antonio.
Antonio, right? Vista Camarillo, is that VA approved? Do we know?
Don't know.
Huh?
I think it is.
It is.
It is?
It is VA approved. But again, you have to recheck because Camalar is the other one that you can get it. And I'm trying to remember what's Camalar called. The properties,
Gardens.
Las Postas Gardens, right? That expired. It's not VA approved anymore, right? So you have to do these things. So when we did it ahead of time, I'm not going to shoot myself in the foot and go show them all these properties. I'm checking everyone. Is it condo first? Go to the tax record. Is it a condo or PUD? PUD, Portofino Homes. There's one right now under 500,000 that's on the market. Portofino Homes, VA can go there, right? So you have to know these things. And if you can talk about this at an open house, you think they're going to work with anybody else? You got to get into that conversation somehow and ask them, okay, do you know if that community is FHA approved? If they say they got an FHA loan, and they're like, what do you mean? And say, all right, that's the reason we need to get together. Let's sit down and talk. I do this with all my buyers that are successful, that get the houses that they want. And most of them don't think they can do it. I'm telling you right now, more than likely you can do it. And if you can't do it now, you get with the right professional, you're going to be able to do it 6 months to a year from now. We have to give them hope. All they're doing is getting bogged down with information that brings them down and makes them think they can't do it. We're the inspiration, right? That's leadership. So thank you for sharing it. Go ahead, Ken.
I do want to say, how many of you like calling
Yeah, okay.
when you need something and you get a recording? Customer service, you're calling your cable, you get a
Hey,
or you get an automated thing. Push 5, push 4, push 3, push whatever. You hate it, right? Why do you guys just send listings instead of like show property or talk to them about homes? You just say, I'll tell you what, here's my link. If you see something, let me know if you like it. You're not doing your job. There's no connection there at all. But we think these tools are helping us, they're not, they're hurting you. You just became like everyone else.
can't automate it.
You can't automate customer service. It doesn't work. It's irritating. And they don't know what to look for. You've never even had a discussion with them. And I want to commend Brandon on another note. When we were doing that open house, his speech cadence and the way he was helping these people was the best I've ever seen. And I always pride myself in doing open houses. That was the best I've ever seen. That guy was fixated on him. He didn't even look at the home. He set the appointment, he had everything. And the things that guy was saying about everyone else he had run into, and Brandon was just giving him an education. Let me tell you this, let me show you that, let me tell you. And it was just perfect. And I just shut up. I didn't say one word. Let him do his thing. So I just want to commend you on that because it was really, really, if you get a chance to work an open house with Brandon, you should. And obviously his dad, if he ever wants to do that again. But yeah, I could tell, you don't just get lucky in this business. You have a skill set and both of these guys have that. Yeah. No, I do want to ask Jim something and
Yeah.
we can go back to that question, but when you came into doing this again, you're retired, you saw us doing this
Mhm.
office, and you said something to me that really meant something to me.
Hmm.
And you said, I retired I wanted to take care of my family, wanted to move on. But you said, there's people that need my help. You said, there's veterans that need my help, and I got a lot of knowledge and wisdom and the ability to do that. And I feel bad that I can't continue to give their help.
Right.
And I appreciate that. And I wanna ask you, what are you envisioning for this office? As far as like this division? You coming here,
It's a great question.
what are you envisioning in this, for our office? How are we gonna separate ourselves from everyone else? And what do we have to offer as a team?
That's about as good as question as I can get. I think the heart of it is, without beating this too much, is that we have so much to offer, as an industry. And it's such a pivotal time in people's lives when they can finally buy a house. Some have lost homes and think they can never buy again. Some have thought I can never afford that price. And some won't. I hate to say it. Not everybody's made to be buyers. They're just not. Some are going to rent their entire lives. And there's nothing wrong with that. There really isn't. But for what we have chosen to do, and we get compensated well when we're compensated, with the understanding it's more than just a paycheck, there's a lot of responsibility that goes with it, is offer ourselves up. When we go out there and we're driving around a couple, or we're meeting them someplace and you're walking through the home, one of the coolest things you're gonna experience, if you haven't done it, most of you probably have, you're gonna follow some younger or older couple into a home, and you're gonna experience their imagination. They're gonna start seeing themselves. Oh, I can picture the kids in this room and playing out back, and I might have to modify this kitchen. I had a lady one day had to bite my tongue. I'm not gonna go into how crude it was growing up with a coal mining father. But we didn't have plumbing. Let's just put it that way. And we had an outhouse, and we lived with that for a few years, and it was fine. We finally got a house that's like, oh, one bathroom. Thank you, Jesus. And I go in these places, oh, it's only got 4 bathrooms. It's like, I just I'll be right back. Let me go bust a vein over here. Wow. You're complaining about only having 4. Only 4. You want to share my bucket? Oh, this lady was going to take out this kitchen that was, my wife would have just locked. No, you're not touching that kitchen. It was amazingly gorgeous, but it didn't suit her standards. So that one always resonates, because I remember I have to think about, it's not me, it's their vision, it's their dreams. One last one, up when they were doing the new stuff up here in Spanish Hills. I've never seen this before. We were going through, it was kind of half built. They had commodes that faced each other. It wasn't a bidet, toilet. And I'm sitting there. I'm thinking, is this a Trump? This pre-Trump, right? What kind of topic are we going to sit there on this toilet and discuss? Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed early morning where, hi, honey, there was no divider. It was literally just knee enough part like you could actually hold hands. Somebody had a special. So if you ever sell a house up there and you come across 2 toilet stations, that's what I'm talking. But what we have to offer and what you guys have are yourselves. And I want to give up as much as I can in terms of folks who want to work with active, folks who want to work with veterans, folks who want to work with someone that has no connection to the military. This isn't just a military thing. I think by putting Veteran Home Services as a department in here, now you can walk out there and you can tell other people when you come across them, when you're differentiating us against the other brokerages, nobody else has this. There's not another broker that has a department for veterans. No, I would have heard about it. I still know most of the brokers here. So does that make us bigger and better than everybody else? Well, hell yeah. Why'd I say no? Of course it does, because we're taking the time to recognize people who are special. And if someone never served, they're still special. They're always going to be special because they're our clients. They took the time to work with us. They chose us instead of everybody else that, has come across their paths. Less than 5% ever serve. It's like 4.25 or whatever it is. That's probably lower than that now. Numbers are down. So you got to figure 95% of your clients aren't going to be vets. They're not going to be active duty. Not a bad thing. It's just, it is what it is. But for us, if you take the time to incorporate a program, and I'll train as much as I can, I want to teach all of you, whether you're dealing with vets or not, is little subtle things like FSBOs. I had a real high return on FSBOs. And you know why? Because I wouldn't not just hold them on the phone. I gave them something that separated me from the guys who were calling them. Sorry, what was your name again? Amoni. So you're selling your own home. It's already on Zillow. Within 24 hours, how many calls you think you got? Yeah, it's off the chart. Agent wise, you're going to get, I don't know what percentile, you're going to get the same 10 to 20 agents who are going to hit you up as soon as they can. I'm going to tell you the same thing. You're going to list eventually, and I can be the one to sell you for top dollar. I found out real quick, I wanted to stop them from hanging up. So I had a very simple question. My question was, excuse me, Amoni. If I could, I'll show you something that would help you avoid a possible canceled escrow or maybe even get sued or just make your transaction just a little easier. If I could show you that, no connection, no obligation, no fee, just a real quick, and then I'll hang up. Would it be worth like 30 seconds?
Yeah.
I've probably had 90% say yeah. You give me 30 seconds, I probably had 75% out of those want my information by the time I hung up. And I would say something to the effect of, it's obvious. What's your price? I'd ask you a couple questions. What's the price of your home? What's the market going for? I probably would have done a little bit of research before I called you, so I have an idea. But I would say I don't have a client for you, and everybody's got a client. I don't have a client. And I really don't want to list it. I just want to throw something out there. And if, something happens, something happens. So I would say, have you ever thought about doing your transfer disclosure in advance? What's that? Well, it's a thing called the TDS, but what if you had that with your package and you had it ready for the first offer that came through that was serious? And you would say something effective, a package? And I would just say, well, maybe a counter offer, because you're not going to take the first offer. So do you know if they give you the price you want, you're still going to counter that, right? I am? Yeah, we're going to counter it because there's certain terms we want in your favor. So with that counter, what if what if you put together a list of all your discrepancies? Well, do I have to? Yeah. And if you have to ask that question, the answer is definitely yes, right? If one of your clients ever asks you, should I disclose this? It's always yes. There is no ifs, ands, or buts. Yes. Over disclose. It doesn't matter. So what I would say is, if you prepare a TDS, a transfer disclosure, and you submit that with your counter offer, they're going to accept your TDS right now. Well, how does that benefit me? Well, it's one less way they can cancel going forward. Well, so that means they can't cancel? Oh, no, they still have other ways to cancel, but they can't use that. And more than that, now you've given a picture to the other side, to this person, that I have someone who's already understanding my house has issues, and they've accepted those issues. So we'll still do the inspection, and they'll still find their own things. But this is just one example. Do you see the value of having them do something like that? Where they accept, they send a counter with something as vital as a TDS? You've just taken away one of their bullets. Now they know in advance that we have our act together. What was your name again? That's what I would get by the end of the call. And there's other things we can go down that same path. But if that makes sense, I hope you can see there's value in that. It has nothing to do with the military. That's what they need for sale by owner. When you hang up, you want them wondering, should this guy be considered? Should this gal be considered for future? We don't have Rolodex anymore, but future, possible contention to maybe talk to, maybe list. Because again, we're trying to differentiate ourselves. Because everybody's saying, I can sell your house. I'll get you top dollar. I'll get you this. They're inundated. They're so sick of hearing from agents. You just want to be a little different. I've actually given you something. I might talk about the need for a termite report in advance. I might talk about something that you're kind of afraid to talk about, but why you need to talk about that even first. They need to understand that how many of you had a canceled escrow in the last 12 months?
I had one 2 days ago.
Yeah.
Well, without going specific, can you share what caused it?
The mom was purchasing it for the son. So she came from out of town. She didn't like how close it was to the freeway and started I don't know if that was the real reason, but that's what she focused on.
Hmm.
So she just pulled out, but that was after inspections, after the earnest money deposits in, had been sitting on the market already for like 66 days. So sellers were upset, but these are the conversations that you're gonna have more and more of coming up. Listings, as much as everybody wants to get listings, I'm gonna have 3 now coming up, and I'm not trying to brag about it. It's all 3 of them are concerned sellers that I have to constantly update them with what's going on and why the home hasn't sold yet. It's tough. And that's the market that we're in. And that's what we're coming. So again, the more you're prepared as an agent, the more you can prep them, and you're going to give a lot of information, a lot of bad news that they necessarily don't want to hear, but they have to trust you. And guess whose fault it is that it fell out of escrow?
It's always yours.
It's my fault, right? I should have done this. I should have done these other things. And then I can take that personally, read the text and react, or give it a little bit of time to cool off, and then talk to them later in the day and talk about, okay, what's our plan B now? What do we got to do next? Right?
Jesse, you said you had one?
I had the same one cancel twice within 4 days, unfortunately.
Oh man.
My short sale in Sylmore has been a pain in my neck for a couple months now.
Short sales are tough.
Yeah, we were in escrow 60 days with our third buyer already. The buyer decided to cancel because it's the buyer's agent, unfortunately.
Uh-huh.
He set completely unreal expectations with how long the escrow was gonna take.
Right.
We had to get another extension because they take months, sometimes 6 months.
Yeah.
And the buyer thought we could close in 60 days, and I was like, no.
Right.
And then all these questions came out of left field. I was like, didn't your agent tell you any of this?
Right.
But
No.
they canceled last Thursday. We opened escrow right away on Monday. We were in escrow 2 days. I got a phone call from the new buyer's agent, said, my buyers want to cancel. I said, why? He said, well, the kids don't like how far away it is from the school they want to go to. And I was like, is it anything else? Can we still make it work? But
Right.
it was just school. Nothing I could do at that.
Right.
But like Brandon said, I know inherently I'm still taking the heat with the sellers.
Right.
I've told them that multiple times. But I called them, I said, hey, we're supposed to be getting another offer. We're supposed to get 2 offers, but we didn't get the second one because we accepted the first one. The other people were still waiting.
Right.
So we're supposed to get another offer. So I had the plan of action moving forward, but I know I'm still taking the heat. So
Right.
that's what I have to say.
So one of your challenges when you're talking with getting potential listings, especially when you have a delicate one, is anticipating these type of things coming up, because it's going to happen when you have an economy that is as touchy as it is. When things are, it's not easy getting a loan, right? It's not easy going through this thing. I mean, you have to really be on your game to make all this stuff happen. The right agent, the right lender, all your ducks in a row, your debts under control, all that stuff. And then on top of that, one of the big things is all of the other stuff that are chirping in their heads. Kids, I don't like that school. Oh, my mother-in-law, all this. It's hard to contend with that. You see the client, you don't see all the baggage that's behind them, right? You're just focusing on Mr. and Mrs. potential buyer. Well, Mr. and Mrs. buyer comes with a whole lot of people that are influencing them. And that's one of your bigger challenges. So when you see the amount of folks that are canceling, it makes your job that much harder. All I can say is you just hang in there and you try to learn. Okay, I'll make sure that doesn't happen again, right?
Yeah.
Unfortunately, most of us learn our best lessons from failed situations.
Right.
I hate to say it, but that's where we grow as agents. We learn on my, I don't remember every mistake. I remember the big ones. Hopefully never made them a second time, but I had some freaking doozies, right? They're not good. But I'm going to wrap this up because I know you guys got to get ready to go.
And I'm saying, have you ever seen 2 deals exactly the same? You
No.
learn something on every deal.
No.
Your knee's doing okay?
No, I'm fine. I just know you guys are getting tired of listening to some old guy.
It's well, I just wanted to say just some on the vision because I know we've talked about it a little bit before. So as we talk, I mean, obviously, my dad's a wealth of information that you can hit him up on anything, and he's always willing to help on any situation, whether real estate transaction, military transaction, whatever. You can. I mean, it's you basically have a broker. Who's been a broker owner for, almost 30 years in the local industry, right? So it's when you have somebody like that in your corner, I try my best to fill one shoe, not both shoes, right? Of what he's done for me to give me the confidence that I can go out there and do my job, right? And it's like, Matt, we've had situations come up. It's not easy, right? Not easy. It's nice hearing offer accepted. It's nice being able to negotiate some things. Then you start getting into the sticky stuff and it's just like, wow, what did I just get myself into? What is this really about? Things that are out of our control. And you try to prevent as much of it's okay, next time I'm going to do this, right? And he's learned about a year's worth of real estate experience in 3 months, roughly. I mean, nothing's easy. There's nothing easy in this business. So on the veteran home services side, we're going to do things to try to generate opportunities. We're going to highly recommend that you get your MRP, Military Relocation Professional Designation, which counts towards your continued education. It's about $300 in total to do it. I know Brittany has hers. I've gotten mine. When Ken was given the props on the open house, it's nothing special that I did. I understand and I know more things because I took that MRP designation. I learned more from that than I did with my own experience of growing up around military my entire life. But the one thing that I've learned by growing up in a military family is I respect anybody who serves, and they know it's yes, sir, yes, ma'am, no, sir, no, ma'am. Even the gentleman who I just met at that open house, tatted up to his neck, has kind of like a lumberjack, type sweatshirt. He could be intimidating to a lot of people, right? I treat everybody like gold, no matter who they are. And as I start hearing his story, automatically he sensed, as if you heard with my dad speaking, the empathy and just trying to listen to him and sincerely wanting to help him, not trying to get an appointment, even though ultimately, as the conversation develops, it's in the back of my head, okay, this is going well. If he truly is connecting and truly seeing the value, he's going to want to get together. So don't be afraid to say, well, what works for you? I got Wednesday open at 3:00. Does that work for you? Would you be willing to come to my office? You all have this beautiful office here that 95% of the agents don't have this, right? It's probably even higher. Yes, Brittany?
VA is like, if you just mentioned the VA funding fee and the disability rating, it's huge.
So what does that mean for everybody?
They have disability rating in the military of 10% or more. They get their VA funding fee waived, which is, it can be a lot. It's what, 3%?
3.66%.
Yeah, 3%. So it can
Yeah.
save you, depending obviously on the house, the home that they're buying, it could save them like 30 grand to, so I have a client right now that's closing in a few weeks, referral from Veteran Home Services, Jim. And, the agent that she was previously talking to, she interviewed a few people, had no idea what that was. So if you just mention that, the VA funding fee, disability rating, it's huge, huge.
And this particular, Brandon did do that, and our client had like 60 or 70% disability.
Yeah.
So he is definitely getting that waived.
So that question comes up,
It came up.
and it's not like he didn't look disabled, right? Most don't. They don't look it. You're not assuming and saying, hey, are you disabled? You're asking them, say, by chance, have you heard anything about, if you have any percentage of disability, at least 10%? And he's like, yeah, I got 70, right? And PTSD, it's, and these are the things my dad's going to teach about. So we're going to do follow-up trainings if you're open to it. Where we'll do a session and we're going to focus on the questions that you ask. And this is where the gold comes, because they see it's like, okay, talk to 4 or 5 other agents. Not one of them asked me about my disability rating. They don't know what that means. And there's people who are in escrow, and these are top agents, great agents.
They don't know.
And they don't know about it. And there's top loan officers that don't know about it. They don't know to ask. And when you talk on $1 million transaction, 3%, it's $30,000. You're saving them $30K. My dad's got a story where the guy got back and he was just sharing it with somebody else that, what was it, a $12,000 check?
Oh, no, 19.9.
$19,000 check.
He had
And-
another agent that you know.
Right. Yeah.
Brandon, this is Diana. I have a client right now that's a VA. He didn't put nothing down, 0 down, and also got we're
I
closing. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can. Sorry.
Okay.
There was another agent that was chatting in the back. Just 1 second and then I'll share it for everybody. Okay. Go ahead, Brittany.
So she was able, they did not tell her, and she paid that. Now she's working on seeing if she can get that reimbursed, but.
So as long as you get it filed, right?
Well, you can have intent to file will work, but it's gotta be prior to close of escrow.
So prior
They
to,
don't have to file it, but they have to have hit the intent to file.
and they need 10%. So that's
10%.
ringing of the ears. Tinnitus, is that how you say it?
Yeah,
Something
well,
like
some
that.
call it tinnitus, but
Yeah.
not called tinnitus, but
Right.
that's 10%, which will do.
That's 10%, which gets that minimum, and you just have to make sure that it's submitted. And my dad, because he's done so much with the VA claims and he understands the process. So that's again just another thing. It's like, you know what? We have somebody who runs he's the director of Veteran Home Services. He helps a lot of people out with their VA claims. And then you put them in touch with my dad, and then he's going to help them out.
One-
So you're
One
gonna be
thing
able to
we're
use it.
trying to do was
Mhm.
exactly pony off what Brandon said is like, Kenny mentioned this person is 70%. My first question to him would be, do you want to raise it higher? And it's gonna be like, yeah, why not? Okay, then we would sit down or over the phone. Let's talk about some of your issues. You have a thing called secondary and bilateral that a lot of people don't understand. Like I never damaged my right knee. I blew out my left one with no insurance. I got out of the Navy in the late 70s, screwing around, no insurance, blow my knee out. A year later, I come back in the Navy. Right knee ends up, and I lie, so because they wouldn't take me back in, so I don't tell them about my injury. As years go by, I favor the other knee so bad. My first surgery was my right knee, not the one I hurt. Eventually, I ended up getting 10% for the left.
Watch out, vehicle on shoulder ahead.
Secondary and bilateral issues on my right caused off the left knee. So tinnitus is 10%. You can get 40% for vertigo off of tinnitus, which is only a 10% disability. But vertigo is 40. You can write in a claim and I'm putting in a claim for balance issues due to my tinnitus, and secondarily, this is it, and you'll get back 10 and 40.
So we're all
There's
not
so
obviously
many
going to know
things.
these things. The second that you have somebody who may be a candidate for it, you reach out to my dad, put them in touch. They'll have a good 30+ minute conversation
And-
about it.
And here's why it's so important. When you go 10 to 20 to 30 to 40 up to 90, you're at about $2,000 tax free. When you go from 90 to 100, it doubles.
Wow.
It goes from 2 to over 4,000
month,
tax free.
Per
That's
month.
4,000 per month, tax free. Now my wife gets benefits. If she wants to go to school, they'll pay for her school. They'll give her a stipend. My kids were in college. I'd be getting stipends for my kids to go to college. My property taxes are affected. I get reduced taxes here. Michigan, they waive your property taxes. Some other states, they do that. So there's a lot that ties into this. There's a ton of it.
Yeah,
Right.
I wanna point out, so we put this class together because we want to get a head count on who wants to participate in this program.
You're all welcome.
Yeah, everybody's welcome, and I think the people that, everybody should do it, you should do it.
Yeah, we
But I
can,
will tell
we
you
can talk
something. I wanna
afterwards
tell you-
about that.
Another angle in this whole thing that's really important. And I heard this from another veteran that owns a veteran company. Veterans speak in a certain language to each other. They understand each other. They say things without even trying. They're just talking their lingo. And it's very comforting for someone that's been in the service. So there's a draw to that. And just him, if we interviewed it, if we just recorded this and put it on social media, he'd have 30 calls. Because there's a kinship to that. So you have an opportunity to work with a guy with a wealth of knowledge that you don't need to do all that. You just need to show them that you're part of this group.
Appreciate them.
Appreciate them and then work with Jim on learning how to operate this program. And you're gonna get a ton of business. We have all the military around us. We have things on social media that you can put out. Just like I said, just speaking one little thing, having a little interview with him, asking him 3 questions. I guarantee you post that, there's gonna be people that are gonna be attracted to that.
There's a way you can ask a service member what they did in the military. And say, hey, what'd you do in the military? You got 1 of 2 questions. If it's Navy, you ask them, what was your rate? RATE. They're Army Air Force
I'll be
Marines.
writing this down.
They're Army Air Force Marines, you ask them, what was your MOS?
Mhm.
And they'll tell us 8210 infantry. The fact that you ask them those questions like that,
Right.
you already showed them I'm already relating to you on at least a little level, because I care enough to just, hey, well, what did you do? It doesn't hurt, yeah.
What does MOS mean?
It's a great question. Don't know.
Like
It's
no-
occupational something occupational standard, military occupational standard, maybe, that's a guess, but
But it means.
I didn't have an MLS, I had
right.
a rate, so that's my way. to
It,
get out.
right, but it
It's the
means,
lingo that they
right,
pick.
it's the
Yeah.
lingo they use to, right.
Yeah. See, get out the
Well,
English. You got me
we'll
on the
look
first
it up
question.
on
I can tell you the
ChatGPT. Yep, we'll look it up on ChatGPT. Yes.
I'd say military occupational specialist, but I'm just guessing.
You said Navy, Army, and who else?
Navy is rate, RATE.
You say, what is your
But
rate?
not rank. Some
That's your-
people confuse with rank. Rank
It's
is your
the rate.
rate.
It's rate.
Yeah, I have that. book.
Rate
Yeah.
is your job, and the other ones, and I think Coast Guard is, well, Coast Guard might be rate, I'm not sure in Coast Guard, but Air Force, Army, Marines,
Oh, okay,
it's MOS.
gotcha.
If you pull it up, I'm just guessing military occupational specialist or something.
Okay, thank you.
Anissa had a question.
Yeah,
I can remember it now. It's
I'm
my
sorry.
age. No, it's okay. Oh, I know. So, thank you for your service. My dad's a Vietnam vet.
Oh, thank
and so
you.
He did 2 tours. So he's.
Is he still with us?
Yes, yes. He's 100% disabled.
Agent
So,
Orange?
yeah, Agent Orange. So, is there a list? I mean, he's been a proud homeowner since.
Is he in California?
Yeah, he's in Simi Valley.
Did he get his property tax adjusted?
Yes, I believe so, but that's the one
I would
thing.
confirm that.
Yeah, so is there a list of things I could?
I don't have them, but I'll get one for you.
Okay.
Yeah, we can go online. You can just type in
Okay.
VA benefits for the state of California.
Yeah, I know, I'm really excited because,
Good for you. Good for
he's-
him.
Yeah,
Cause he's earned it.
he's a great support.
You know, a side note to that, Admiral Zumwalt ordered Agent Orange and Admiral Zumwalt's son died from Agent Orange.
Wow.
He was a PT, a swift boat commander, a lieutenant.
Yeah,
And he
he
ended up dying from the
definitely-
stuff his father dumped on everybody.
Yeah, he's definitely fighting dialysis right now.
Yeah.
He doesn't want it, so he's trying to, hold it off as much as he can right now, but he's got definitely like PTSD. And I was a child of a guy coming back from Vietnam, and it wasn't
See,
easy for
that's
them.
a great segue. And I'm not trying to capitalize on it, but I kind of am, right? If this makes sense. If you don't mind, I'm great on cheesy shirts, right? T-shirts. I told Brandon, do you ever want to do this? Military brat retired, right?
Yeah.
They
That's
always
what
put the
icebreaker.
RET at the end, so
RET and-
that says US Navy, right? Chief Petty Officer, and then RET
Yeah.
at the end of your title, right?
But if you got the military brat, then they know you know a certain level of stuff.
Right.
Right.
And you put the retired, it's a great
And-
segue into.
And military acknowledge you, and they say thank you for your service, because you went around and you didn't have dad or mom or whoever was serving, and they know what we went through. We moved every 3 years, and you're going to learn when you do the MRP designation. I'm telling you, it was so eye-opening to me. But it just said, it's like, look, when people PCS, that's another term you're going to hear. That means they're moving from Andrews Air Force Base to Point Mugu like we did. They do it every 3 years. Seabees, which is Port Hueneme, there's a lot of Seabees. They pick that because in the Navy, they want you moving every 3 years. They don't want you getting comfortable. They want you to be able to get up and go, right? So every 3 years you're moving. Well, if they buy something, guess what they're doing in 3 years? They're selling the property in 3 years. They're not looking for their forever home. But they only have this amount of time. You better show them 15, 20 properties, especially with the market we have right now in that period of time. You got to be highly efficient with it. And then they will do something because they have housing allowance. There's so many benefits that people don't realize of why VA is the way to go. And I know we can do a class with Jeff, and Jeff will teach why there's no mortgage insurance. Saves them $200 to $400 a month, right? He's got his whole list right here, right? So we will do something where we'll host something to bring all the veterans in here, advertise it. We're gonna have signs out there. I've never, and I'm not just saying it because dad's here, right? But when I had a veteran home services sign, people followed the open house sign saying, I just came to see what you like. They thought it was a fair or something. They're like, my husband was in the military. I just wanted to see what you guys were giving away. Right. And that's literally, they were following the open house signs. That's never happened in my career.
If I
And
can
it's-
add to
yeah.
that, if I can add to that, when it says services, they may ask you, well, what services do you provide, right? Which is a great question. You can kind of expect, and I still get calls. I'll get calls for the veterans home in Ventura, and I'll politely, lead in that direction. The services would be what I would say if that were my call is, well, we have a department that has a focus on helping vets any way we can. We help with trying to find them a house if they want to buy or rent. We help them with the veterans home if they need to get into the veterans home. We can put them in touch with some local nonprofits who might be of assistance to them. And we really like to help them with their VA disability rating. Well, how would you help them with that? Well, they can sit and talk with our consultant and who's been through the process. I've been in front of an appellate judge. It took me 20 years what they should be getting done in 6 months. So I paid the dues for them in a lot of ways because I didn't know. I self-taught. I got freaking bins of paperwork of all of my blood pressures, paint physicals, knees, my asbestos program. I was on an aircraft carrier, the Ranger, and I had asbestos over my head for 2 years. The plane would land and just sprinkle the stuff down. Some big guy at a top rack, right? Got a big duct that went over my head. Worked a lot of night shift. We had F4s then, or heavy planes. Hit, sprinkle, sprinkle, sprinkle. I get up, dust myself off, go to chow and go work for 15, 16 hours. This is in the 70s. Never heard of asbestos. So now my lungs are, they are what they are. It's just one of those things that when people have these type of issues, we want to try to give them what we can. And we can do that. And we don't have to be a vet to do that. We just kind of want to have some compassion and know where to lead each other. And one thing I was going to say on the shirts, how about Patriot Active Duty and have the logos of it, something like that. You could wear a t-shirt that says, I'm an active duty patriot. And have your 5 or 6 logos up there. I say 6 because sometimes like that, the Coast Guard. They're okay. They're real.
They have, if we do one of the seminars, you'll see how much fun they all have with each other. But it's going to
That's
be,
friendly ball busting.
and it's another just huge opportunity. Again, this is like when I worked for that company, I had my best year in real estate. COVID shut it down for 3 months. And I did over 20 transactions that year. That was my best at that point in time. Probably less than 25% were with military. But I did get some extra business because of that, right? And then people started calling me because of the social media posts that we would do. And other agents would call me and say, hey, I know you're the military guy. I know you know VA loans. Like, this is my situation. And if I could help them, I would. Sometimes I'd give them to my dad. And I didn't know Jeff at the time, like how we know each other. But I would have called him and said, actually, call Jeff. He's your guy that knows the underwriting standards for VA. So he's who you want to call. And because they always update it, sometimes he's got to look into it, right? Because it is constantly being updated. So just sharing it all, again, it's another opportunity, it's another icebreaker. It's another thing that you're going to feel good about, that you got another tool in your tool belt that's going to make you different, to help with this. But it's just one of many different ways to have an impact on the community
So
here.
let's do,
Right.
if you don't mind,
Yeah.
why don't we end this class as we're
Yeah.
running late? And
Yep.
why don't we do a follow-up and maybe you can put together the next steps on how to go get this certification.
MRP.
The MRP, and we'll get a head count of people that want to join.
Well,
And-
I'll just say on the MRP, it's easy. Just look on the ceshop.com. That's continuing education. So THE, then
can see it.
ceshop.com, and you'll see the MRP designation. And they do sales at times, so it's even cheaper. But after you pass it, you do have to pay like another $150. And then once you do, it's like 300 in total. Then you're a part of the MRP network. So supposedly you're actually supposed to refer it, but they have a logo that you can put on your business cards. So at the end of your name, it says comma MRP, and most people don't know what that means. So I actually write out military relocation professional on cards that I have. So when people see it, they're like, well, what does this mean? What do you do for veterans? And it's up to you. This doesn't mean you have to do anything. I've done it a lot of times, but I don't do it all the time, right? But more than anything, they feel safe. They feel that you're going to be able to lead them in a way that a majority of the public can't. So we will set that follow up and we'll wrap it up. And thank you guys. I hope, was this helpful?
Very.
Okay, good. And it didn't seem like you guys were rushing to get out of here. So I wanted you to get as much as your knees could. I'm surprised you
These
stood
are
up
good.
the whole
Well,
time.
I'm wearing this.
Yeah.
thing.
But
No, it's
okay.
any other final thoughts that you have for everybody?
The last thing. First of all, thank you for your time. I know it's a lot to listen to and it's a lot to try to absorb. I just wanted to throw out there again, it doesn't have to be military or veterans. I'd love to help you with how to approach door knocking comfortably. how to do the cold call comfortably. Cause if you don't find a way to relax yourself and get into it, you won't do it. If you don't do it, you're just missing certain opportunities that are out there, right? Cause we know the business isn't just gonna fall on us. We have to go out there. And what you're gonna find out, once you actually do a few of these, it's like, that's not so bad. They're not gonna come out and kick me. Right? Maybe they will, I don't know.
That conversation yesterday, right?
And it's out of everything that you did, what would you say is the most effective way of finding business? If you had to give two things that you would do
For
and
me
just
personally?
focus on, yep.
I got
What would
more
be?
business off open houses than anything.
Mhm.
And then my referrals. My CPA at one point says, man, you need some write-offs. I said, I don't have any. All my business was from word of mouth. I wasn't marketing myself. So I'm not saying don't market yourself, and I'm still getting calls. And I have people I'll run into, I thought you're out of the business. I've been looking for your number.
But why did you get the referrals? Because I mean, I know you would cover termites, you would do things, you'd buy things for, like get.
Yeah, I mean, there were people who were hurting. I mean, yeah, we went over and above sometime. I got so many stories to share. It's just a matter of every person's got a different need.
Right.
And if you can recognize where they're coming from, what's motivating them to buy? One, if you're gonna sell a house, why are you selling your home? Or if you're gonna buy, why buy now?
Right.
And just let them open up to you. And when you start to learn them, outside of just a person I came in contact with, and you let them express themselves, you can find out, are you really ready to buy or should you sell now? And I think if you put it on a personal level and not as a commission,
Right.
You'll do real well. You'll get the referrals because you did a good job. I stayed in contact with a lot of people, friends that were, prior clients that, I mean, I can't tell you how many people we sold homes. I ended up making them realtors.
Right.
Quite a few. Half of my office was people we sold homes to.
Mm-hmm.
Just because we liked them as a person, and they could do amazing with what this industry, because we really need good people, right? Car salesmen sometimes have a bad rap. Well, sometimes car salesmen are like realtors. I mean, look at the comparison. I hate to say it, but when we got to take ethics, nothing against a car salesman. I shouldn't even said that, but they get a bad rap. When we get bad raps.
Can you on it? Okay, so you've been doing this a long time, a lot longer than I have too, and I've been doing it a long time. Has anything changed? The basics have not changed in
No.
40 years. It's
No.
belly to belly. That's what, I don't even really pay for advertising anymore. It's belly to belly for me. That's what's always worked. Advertising doesn't do anything. The internet helps a little bit, but it really doesn't do much. It's getting out and seeing people, and I never regret doing
I
it.
think that's the crux. Again, after hearing that one gentleman say, you can't be afraid of rejection, it's like, okay, I get it, but I wasn't practicing it. And then when it got down to, I think I was selling the house, and the lady next door had a flag flying, a Marine flag. And I kept seeing it, and I kept seeing her, but I never had a chance to talk to her. And one day I was doing an open house, and we talked for like 20-25 minutes. And another one told me everybody up and down the street. And I started realizing she's just a person. She was taking groceries in and out. And I wasn't sure if I wanted to talk to her. And when I just started talking, I started realizing they're just like us. When you knock on the door, they're just like us. If you're not in their face and pushy, they're going to be just like us. And that's when you don't know when they have someone who needs to move or needs to come and find a place. And especially if you find someone who's asking for a rental. That's the ones that gets dropped all the time, because we're thinking, oh, they're not going to buy. One, you don't know that. And two, you don't know who they know. It's a small community. Your reputation here is everything. You start helping out people who aren't going to give you a commission, your name just goes to the top because they see you as a straight up gal or a guy, that this person's not all locked in on commissions.
Right.
So
When
just be
when you
yourself.
started in the business, when I started in the business, they used, in CME, they had something called the kitty letter. Like a kitty letter like this. And it was like a kitty. And it had all the rentals. And every office would have these kitty letters. And then the receptionist would just hand them out. People would come in and you go, here you go, here you go. And I was brand new. I had nothing going on. I told the lady, I go, give me those flyers. I go, anybody that comes in, tell them to come talk to me. And I was working up front in the front desk. And we'd get like 5-6 people every few hours. It was very popular. So
Yeah.
people would come in and I'd go, okay, and I'd get behind the computer. How can I help you? well, I want to rent something. He came in for the kitty litter. Do you have the kitty litter? And I go, yeah. I go, what are you looking for? Looking for a 4-bedroom. Okay. And at what price range? What price, what price are you looking for? And they're all, oh, 3,000 a month. And I would go, I look up and I go, 3,000? I go, have you ever considered buying? Well, yeah, I just think I can't do it. I said, well, do you know about your tax benefits and things like, and they go, well, no. I converted 1 year, I sold 8 homes from that kitty litter letter. And they never knew that they can qualify. There was another year right after that. It was like you back to back. The government was offering 2 credits, 10,000 and 10,000. I went crazy with those credits. We were putting everybody in the homes. It was paying for their down payment. We were paying off cars. We went crazy selling homes with that. But there's a lot of programs. You guys got to get informed with some of the programs that Jeff has. The CalHAFA, the city assisted programs that they give them the down payment. There's ways of doing it. The Valley works it like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah.
Nobody can qualify out there, but they all buy a home.
Did you guys know one fun fact that a lot of lenders don't know either? Is that a seller can pay off a veteran's debt up to 4% of the purchase price.
Really?
People don't know stuff like that.
Wow.
That's a huge.
That's huge.
Well, I know the answer, but tell them an example why that would benefit. How you would wrap that up.
Debt ratios can make somebody feel better about, being able to qualify and pay that $4,000 or $5,000 a month payment.
So
There's lots of,
for example, it comes into my head is they go, I can only afford $3,000. That's it. What kind of bills do you have? I got this credit card, I got this, I got that, I got that. And it equals another 2,000. Well, how much do you owe? Well, I owe 25,000, but it's 26% interest. Well, what if I came to a house right now that's not selling, but would comp, and I use this credit to pay off that debt. Now their $3,000 payment, they can afford 5,000 with a tax benefit, a tax write-off.
Because you're paying off that
They're
debt.
paying off the debt.
it's huge.
You gotta get creative. I would do that all the time.
What's that?
All right, I think we're good though. We're going.
Oh, you're good.
I know.
That's great information.
Yeah,
I have a list
People
of
don't
stuff
think about that.
Yeah.
on this flyer that I just put together to show you the benefits. But obviously we won't go through it, but if you guys have any questions,
Yeah.
let me know. and I'll see.
Any other final thoughts? Seth?
Just if you have any questions, feel free to give me a holler. I
Yeah.
gotta get some cards made. I don't have any cards.
Yep, we'll get that going.
This guy's a wealth of
you
knowledge.
just put on your t-shirt.
I can do
It
that.
is.
Yeah.
Well, the back of the cars worked really well. It's faded. He's got to get a new one now. We got to do it. Yeah. No, but he's had so many calls just off the back,
Oh,
the
yeah.
wrap on the back.
It's almost completely gone.
And
Take
they-
my-
and
my
they-
ink is off,
and
that's
they're
fine.
still
Like I
getting
said
calls.
before, what works the best is the basics. Don't
Yeah.
try to get crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It's the basics.
Yeah.
And this is,
Keep it simple.
keep it simple.
Well, I wish you guys all the best and I hope you have a nice long career. Just be yourselves and I said stand apart from everybody else. I think you'll be fine. You got a great office. You guys got a good thing going here. Nice location. You've done a good job putting this together. The sky's the limit. You got so much things changing in the economy. Don't let the media mess with you to the point to start screwing up your motivation. Because I can turn around and say, this is happening and this is happening. It's not hard to do to get 2 different opinions out there. So just go with your instincts, try to learn as much as you can and figure out, where the reality is. But morally, you're in good shape. You won't go wrong.
So the event we have coming up too, everybody try to promote it, send it. There's a way you can invite to your friends on your friend list. Start sending it. So the first one we have is for agents. Then we're going to do one on Saturday that's for our past clients and the public and all your friends, right? But the more as agents we all promote it, we want this to be a huge turnout because this is going to draw people in where we can talk about the different divisions. Yes.
Sorry, where do we find this event?
On Facebook. Yep. A Facebook event. We also have an Eventbrite as well. So we're still working on the second one for the public though, the one that we're going to do on Saturday.
I have a 1031 guy It's not just a 1031 guy. He actually is very savvy in all kinds of investments. So for example, there's with this new
Somebody have
big,
to look at
beautiful
the
build
plans.
it pass, whatever.
Yeah.
You can
Nisa.
you can super depreciate an investment right now, like almost, there's a way almost depreciating 100% of it the first year. It's something new. So why does that matter? Well, if you got a guy or a guy, if you have a client that has a company that made a lot of money this year, they're gonna pay a hell of a lot of money in taxes. So it makes sense for them to buy something to depreciate, to write off that money that they're gonna give away for free anyway. So it's like, they're like, it's free money. Why not use it? Buy something. I have a client, he has a warehouse. He's a flooring person. He makes a ton of money. He rents his warehouse. And it's not going anywhere. He's been there for 20 something years. He needs to buy a warehouse to get rid of all that debt, all that tax he's gonna pay. That's an example. So start thinking of people you can invite that might want to hear that. We're also gonna have people here that talk about the first time buyer programs, the VA programs. You know, we're gonna have tables set up where your clients can come and talk to and speak to professionals in those fields. We're gonna have vending booths around. So
You
we're gonna have,
Any home buying classes coming up? Are you doing?
We're going to.
we're gonna.
Yeah, so it's minimum's gonna be once a quarter. Ideally, I'd like to do it every month. So I know other agents, Betty's not here right now, but Betty had asked if she could host one soon. She wants to do it on a regular too, but
Oh, excellent.
with this location, especially once we put the open house sign out there, free first time home buyer class. But we need to do the list, just like you had the rental list, we can do rental list, and we can also do just an active list of Camera homes. We should have that printed out and have people coming in, just like this lady's out here checking out the things. You can't, when you see somebody out here, don't hesitate, walk straight out, ask them how you can help them. Ask them how they're doing, you know, and it's just a regular conversation, but they're obviously interested in something.
I
Yeah.
don't understand when someone's working the car wash office and we have those flyers out there and they got nothing going on. They're reading and looking and everyone's back there just like not even saying anything. I'm like, you like ask that person if they need help. Why do you think they're looking at the flyer?
Right.
And this is where we have to lose that fear of rejection. You know, again, it's just something that I think we all have it to a certain degree. Some can mask it, some can't.
Something that we picked up from working in sales. If you're scared of rejection, this is what you tell people at the beginning. Every no is leading you closer to your yes.
Yeah.
So just go out there and get those
Yeah.
no's because
That's
that gets you
perfect.
closer to your yes. That's
Tom-
part of
Tom-
the process.
That's perfect.
Tom Hopkins had a thing where he'd go, every 100 doors is a yes that you knock. So he said, he tells a story where he went to the 99 door, knocked on the door, and the guy goes, "You son of a bitch, get off my yard, get out of here, get it." And he goes, "Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Have a good day." And the guy goes, "Why are you so happy?" He goes, "Because the whole next door is a yes." So and it's a whole story. If you guys get a chance to listen to Tom Hopkins, I learned so
That's
much from that guy, but he's great storyteller, great sales, all that stuff applies. So listen to Tom.
You guys are
All
gonna do
right,
great.
thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Dad, for doing it. Very helpful.
Huh, no problem.
Appreciate you
My pleasure.
taking the time and looking forward to the next one.
You're welcome. Thank you. Got a great group.